a real pleasure to see so many old faces come and visit us again. And it's also a pleasure seeing some of our managers coming here today to present to you about their various centres of excellence. So today we're going to be going through what we refer to as the SME Research Report. We've worked with an organisation called B-Star to undertake a survey of SMEs of approximately 500, specifically asking them questions around what are the concerns they are facing and what are they doing about resolving those concerns. The purpose of today is to go through the findings of this report and share with you some of the tools and resources that we've shared with many of our businesses to actually implement change and address some of the concerns that they've identified. These are the three emerging trends that have come out of the SME report from a planning perspective. Working smarter, not harder, improving efficiencies to increase profits, and finally, de-risking the business.
Could I get a show of hands who here currently has a business plan? So the research tells us that only 20% of business owners have a plan. Now, why is this? You plan your holidays, you plan your weekends, but you don't have a plan for your business. Maybe the problem is that people don't know how to go about planning their business. I want you to think about what you do when you're trying to get to a destination that you've never been to before. You take out your phone, you open your Google Maps, you put in where you are, you put in where you want to be, and it plans out your trip for you. Now, when planning for your business, the process is much the same. You need to work out where you are, where you want to be, and how to get there. So firstly, where are you now? This is about taking stock of your business, and there are a number of tools that can help you to determine where you currently are. Firstly, we've got the Business Risk Survey. This is a short 10-question survey, and this is the report that you receive afterwards. You can see that you receive a risk score and a risk rating. It then categorises your risks from low, medium to high. By categorising your risks in this way, it means you can focus on your high-risk areas so that you can improve your business. The next step would be to do a SWOT analysis. Now, a SWOT analysis is quite a well-known tool. You jot down your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats in relation to your business. And I think you'd be surprised at what you actually write down. So we know what our risks are. We've done our SWOT analysis. What else can we do to find out where we are? Well, we can value our business. Now, here we have an example of a business valuation. This particular business we've compared to 50 other businesses within the industry. By valuing your business and comparing it to others within your industry, you can find out where you're placed. By valuing your business and knowing what's driving that value, you can take steps to increase the value over time. Another tool that we can use is the business model.
I particularly enjoy going through this model with family businesses, particularly when I'm comparing what they believe, or what the founding or the current owners believe to be their business model, and comparing that to the next generation. This is a snapshot of the various elements of the strategic plan, but there are 6 areas that the strategic plan generally focuses on, around client base, staff recruitment, financial process improvement, risk management, and acquisitions of weaknesses.
The next step in the process is to find out where we want to be. This next step involves setting goals, more specific SMART goals. So what are SMART goals? SMART goals are goals that are specific, they're measurable, they're achievable, they're relevant, and they have a time limit on them. Now, this effectively represents your business plan. Your business plan should be a series of these SMART goals, and if they're written in this format, you're much more likely to achieve them. If they're in your head, they're not going to be achieved. The SME research report tells us that 1 in 3 business owners regularly do strategic planning like this. So that means by doing this process, you're already ahead of your competition. Okay, so we know where we are now, we know where we want to be. How do we get there? This is probably the most important step in the process because it involves action. It involves reviewing your business plan, your goals, on a regular basis, consulting with a trusted advisor, and using tools to make sure that you're on track to achieving your goals. So I want you to think to yourself what it would feel like to be in that position, to have a plan, and to be following through with it. I hope the next time you look at your GPS system or your Google Maps that it reminds you to plan for the future.
The success of your business plan is built upon 3 key components: people, processes, and technology. Let's focus on the people tonight, the most important assets in any organisation. As Andrew mentioned, some of you guys raised your hands about having a business plan. Is offshoring part of that? Of the remaining 80% that have been persuaded by Andrew that you need to create a business plan, is offshoring going to be part of that now? Is it too hard? It just won't work for you? Without physical or distance issues anymore, a company based in Australia can now compete with clients all across the globe. Likewise, this enables you to tap into a well-trained global workforce. Let us take a journey into our GPS, tapping into Andrew's little phone. This is some specific coordinates. And we're diving away. Where are we now? I introduce to you the global workforce that is supporting both our staff in Sydney as well as some clients currently. Global workforce, say hello to Sydney. Awesome. Sydney, say hello to global workforce, come on.
I'm meeting all of you there in our next session on March. Actually, I'm also planning to see the famous Sydney Opera House, Sydney Harbour Bridge, and what's on top of my list is to go to Woolworths and figure out how many flavors of Tim Tams are there.
That wasn't too hard, was it? Offshoring is about, at the end of the day, people. Living, breathing people who can be engaged and also enthusiastic about what they do in your business. They're just simply located elsewhere. Which is why in HLB, we don't call things doing offshoring, but rather having a global workforce. So how can a global workforce actually help you achieve this? Across a survey of businesses, the number 2 function that is either offshored or outsourced is actually the finance and accounting function. HLB conducts a review of your finance team, sees how we can help streamline what they're currently doing so that they're working smarter in general. If necessary, see how a global workforce can assist them where the bulk of their time is being spent, and like I said, most likely the day-to-day transactions. One of the key reasons why businesses have failed in implementing a global workforce is because they forgot what we said right at the beginning, that global workforce is simply about people. It is not a scary concept, it is not a hard concept, and it is no longer a concept only for large businesses.
I will now discuss how to protect the business and family assets. The SME research report identified that the number 2 business risk for SMEs was protecting the business and family assets. Business owners want to protect what they have worked so hard to achieve. An emerging trend is that business owners are protecting these assets by focusing on identifying and removing risks from their business. That is, de-risking the business. I am increasingly seeing that business owners are becoming more concerned about their personal situation, which is in line with the latest findings. Tonight I'll be discussing 3 ways of protecting your business and family assets. The first one being insurances, second one being asset protection, and thirdly, estate planning. The first area, insurances. How will my business survive if my business partner dies or is seriously injured? When was the last time your insurances were reviewed? One of the ways of dealing with a departing business partner is to include a buy-sell agreement in your shareholders' contract. This is a legal agreement that allows the remaining partners to buy out the departing partner's interest in types of situations such as death or disability. It ensures that the business does not end up in the wrong hands. Generally, these contracts are linked to an insurance policy to provide the necessary finance for the buyout. Depending on the reason for the loss of the business partner, the business could take out life insurance over the business partners. Otherwise, How do the business partners finance such a buyout? This type of ownership protection reduces interference to the business. It allows the business to continue as normal as possible in these types of situations. The other type of insurance a business may want to consider is key person insurance. As the name suggests, this provides a lump sum payment to the business if a key person dies, suffers a major illness, or becomes totally and permanently disabled. By putting these insurances in place, it protects the business assets in unfortunate circumstances. Most importantly, the business can continue with hopefully fewer financial issues in these sorts of situations. On the home front, how will my family be placed if something was to happen to me as the main breadwinner? To ensure you protect your family assets, we recommend you consider income protection, life cover, TPD cover, and trauma cover. These should be reviewed regularly. Asset protection in terms of debt. Business owners want to protect what they have worked so hard to achieve. The family home is usually the largest family asset. Once a business is starting to generate some profits and is running smoothly, many of our clients approach us and request some sort of structuring advice in respect of separating the debt on their family home from their business debt. It is really important that when reviewing your debt position that you work in conjunction with your business advisors. The SME report identified estate planning to be a major area of concern for business owners. While just over half, 54% of business owners have wills in place, this is clearly an area that small business owners need to seek expert advice. So what is good estate planning? Estate planning could include such things as an up-to-date will, an up-to-date enduring power of attorney, which is where you appoint someone to make final financial decisions on your behalf. It could also include an enduring guardianship, which is often forgotten. This is when you appoint someone to make lifestyle and medical decisions on your behalf. We also recommend, if necessary, including a superannuation beneficiary nomination. This dictates who your superannuation balance will go to when you do pass. Even though it is nearly impossible to rule from the grave, a lot can be put in place to assist with this process. It is very important to document everything. Mum and Dad may consider the following with their estate planning: potential executors, the use of testamentary trusts, or other types of structures that protect their assets from the financial effects of such things as a failed marriage of their children. You want to make sure if you do become incapacitated, you are happy with your representative, that they will protect your assets and make good decisions on your behalf. You also want to make sure that your future wishes are adhered to when you do pass. Tonight I have outlined 3 areas that you could consider to help protect your business and family assets. It is imperative that these strategies are reviewed and documented.
So the challenge is how do we put all this together? We've gone through a lot of information in a very short period of time, many plans that we've referred to, but how do we come? This is where we would like to introduce you to the business life plan. And I'm going to go with an example on screen to show you what a business life plan actually looks like. This is an example of how de-risking the business, looking at a global workforce, and business planning comes together in one, where you put the business and the individual needs together. So this is the business life plan report, and these are the elements that make up the business life plan report. So you've got some very basic information around the business overview, a bit of background about the business, any key achievements that have been achieved by the business. It also provides details specifically around the individual that's leading the organisation. And the reason why this is very important when you put together a business life plan is that when owners transition out of a business, sometimes they don't have a lot to do afterwards because they've been so involved. So it's important to start introducing some hobbies and capturing these things so that there is a purpose of the individual beyond the business. There's some life-changing events that are sometimes shared on a business life plan. There's also details of the personal assets and liabilities in the business life plan and how these are categorised amongst various assets. The business life plan also identifies some very key people to the organisation. People such as your estate planning lawyer, your board of advisory, your bankers, all in the one document, all easy to find. In Business Life Plan, the purpose of it is to capture everything all together. It also identifies where some gaps might exist and the need to prepare for something. Broadly, future plans, marketing plans, where you want to compete, what your market share is looking like, your constraints to growth. You have a snapshot of your profit and loss, some percentages, key ratios of the business that we use to assess or benchmark against. How the business is actually performing. Is it heading in an upward trend, or is it stabilising? We want to know a little bit about yourselves. We want to know a little bit about how you rate your overall lifestyle. And then this is probably the most important element of the business life plan, the goal summary or the action items that come out of it. The timelines are there to identify when the action plans are proposed for completion. Business related to personal. You can see here there's a desire to have a holiday for a period of time. The business life plan is a really powerful tool to capture the various facets important in the business and also what's important to the individuals involved in the business. So when we meet again in a month's time, we will continue to work through the SME report around the areas of working smarter, not harder, improving efficiencies to increase profits and de-risking the business. But when we next meet, we'll be specifically focusing on processes and technology and what we're seeing out there with other business owners and what we can share with you as well to implement in your businesses. We'll place a greater emphasis on our people view, again, in those three areas of emerging trends within SMEs, but specifically focusing on people and cultures. So I just wanted to say thank you, everyone, for taking the time to come and visit with us. Thank you for being here at HLB Mann Judd, and we look forward to seeing you again in a month's time. So thank you.